India-U.S. ties have been strained to say the least after U.S. President Donald Trump imposed 50% tariffs on nearly all Indian imports. This was the highest among all, right along with Brazil. 25% of this was, of course, for buying Russian oil, which didn't make sense initially, especially because China, Russia's largest oil buyer, got excused. Now, US Secretary of State Marco Rubio has revealed the real reason Trump was forced to excuse China, quote unquote, because the US simply can't afford it. Also, there was pressure from Europe because EU buys a lot of the oil that China buys from Russia and then refines it. Economists have been pointing it out for days now that Trump can't afford to take on both China and India together. So out of the two, they chose to target India to try and pressurize Putin, something which Rubio has pretty much now admitted. Now, former Indian Chief Economic Advisor Kaushik Basu, who was the World Bank Chief Economist and now teaches at Cornell University, has said that India should not fall into Trump's tariff trap. In a piece for Mint, Basu says that Trump may be taking India for granted and it's time for India to draw on our legacy of being a strong independent country, balancing relations with multiple nations while avoiding subordination to any major power. He says that India must cultivate economic and diplomatic ties with countries like Mexico, Canada, and China. Also strengthen trade and cooperation with other governments that are concerned about the impact of Trump's tariffs, particularly in Europe and Latin America. It would be a mistake for New Delhi to retaliate by matching Trump's tariffs, as some prominent Indian commentators have urged. While retaliation would hurt the United States, the damage to India would be greater. The US is India's largest trading partner, whereas India is only the 10th largest partner for the US, well behind Mexico, Canada, China, and Germany. The US economy is also far larger and therefore better able to absorb major shocks. Basu also says that the US is already making a grave error, isolating itself and inflicting enormous damage on its own economy. Competing with manufacturers in emerging economies like India, Vietnam, and Indonesia would require driving down the wages of American workers, a strategy that is neither realistic nor desirable. The same applies to India. Tariffs should not be used to settle political scores. In the long run, the collateral damage will far outweigh any short-term gains. Basu also warns that Trump needs to recognize the mistake and reverse course before it causes any more damage to the United States. This is something even veteran American economist Professor Steve Hanke said in an interview to Mint, that India just needs to wait it out. Trump will end up destroying the US on its own without any interventions.
I think the evidence shows that free trade is a positive from an economic point of view, and tariffs, quotas, sanctions, all those interferences are negatives. They destroy gains from trade. Trade is mutually beneficial. If you sell me something from India and I import it, you the seller, benefit. Otherwise, you wouldn't sell it to me. And I, the importer, I benefit or I wouldn't buy it. So there are gains from our trade. What the tariffs do is impose a tax that robs or destroys some of those gains from trade. Now, where does the tax come from? It comes from Americans. This is just ridiculous that they come from foreign. Indians don't pay for the tariff. You don't pay when you sell me something, the tariff. I pay when I import from India if there's a tariff. So that's the whole economic rationale for tariffs. You can find very few economists any place in the world who are pro tariffs, and that is economist on the left, economist in the middle, economist on the right. It doesn't make any difference. They're all fundamentally and in principle free traders. The third aspect is the fact that I think, due to the fact that the money supply has been very anemic, the growth in the money supply in the United States for the last 2.5 years, I think the U.S. is on the verge of going into a recession. So all those things, all the principles and practice behind tariffs is a negative. and will push the U.S. economy down. By the way, that in addition to the slow growth in the money supply will mean we have a recession coming, and once the recession comes, that will create a major headache for Trump. So that's why Napoleon never interfere with your enemy when he's in the process of destroying himself. I think all these policies are a path towards destruction. They're not good. They're bad. So you just wait. You wait until a recession comes. The environment will change then.
Right. That was actually going to be my next question to you. That what would your advice be to India or to say Prime Minister Modi or to the foreign minister, that you should just kind of wait it out and not cower down? Is that what you would say?
I think waiting it out is the right thing to do. The Indian economy is in good shape now. It's in pretty good shape. I think the Reserve Bank is doing a good job, has been doing a good job. And as you know, a few days ago, they left the repo rate constant. They didn't change it. And I think that was a good move. And the reason it was a good move, there's a lot of uncertainty now. We're talking about all this uncertainty that's been created and the weakness in the rupee. So I think it was a good idea not to change the interest rate. I think it puts India in a good position now to withstand the
blow from the
bullets that are coming in. Yeah.
In a world where business never stops, Mint keeps you ahead, any screen, anytime. From studios to the ground, Mint breaks down business, leadership, and lifestyle, boldly, visually, and smartly. From boardrooms to markets, from personal wealth to industry trends, we bring you the insights that matter.
Mint is doing brilliantly well. It's a well-read page, I would think.
What fuels India's biggest CEOs? Ride along and find out.
I have to work that much harder. I have to put that much more in.
Over the years.
Yes.
Earlier I could say, no, I can't afford it.
Yeah.
But now I can.
Want to invest like the pros? Learn from India's top market experts.
Things like that worry me about markets.
I don't want to buy a house to invest in.
Your money, your future. We make finance simple. Step inside breathtaking homes and the creative minds behind them.
So we are at the house in Camellias. I think Camellias is the most expensive property in the NCR and probably the most expensive in the country.
India's real estate scene decoded. No jargon, no fluff.
Home buyers will have more bargaining power.
It's a great time to buy a house as well.
Some chase success, others create it. Meet the ones who made the impossible possible.
I don't want to be a doctor, I don't want to be an engineer, I don't want to be an accountant. And that's the most fragile thing. Poof, it will go away.
वो ताली ऐसी थी ना, इतनी addictive थी, मैंने कहा बॉस अब तो यही होगा.
We don't just talk business, we show it. And the world's watching.